Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Strawberries Gamer Society, streaming every night on Twitch from 1 a.m. till 2 a.m. Pacific time. Tonight's topic is one of what I consider like one of the most difficult topics ever to talk about, but at the same time, as a mom, I think people ought to know about these sorts of things so that nobody takes advantage of you because you didn't know what they were doing. So as in my real life, then I am a scout leader and I spend a lot of time at church. And so I have to take all these trainings about basically do not abuse children nor allow people to do so. And these are some of the most uncomfortable things ever. But, hey, hello, welcome, hi, no, 280-109. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, so this one, it's a hard one to be as a first stream because the topic is just a little bit weird. So maybe I'm going to start tonight with a little bit of a tour of would you like to see my Minecraft world first to get into it, and then we'll get into the less fun stuff. So yeah, this is our village. It is underground, and I am in the very, very long process of filling it in, making all the edges surrounded by obsidian back here. And as part of that, then I want to make some fire resistant potions so that I can put the lava down more safely without killing myself. And as part of that, trying to get the fire resistance potions, then I need to find nether wart, so I need to go into the fortress, and I keep dying. So I have just finished many long streams, and I finally, last night, for the first time, I got enough netherite to make one piece of netherite armor. So my current goal is to get more enchantments on this netherite armor. So it came with protection 2 and breaking 2, but I need to add on to it mending, and so mending I can actually add pretty much right away. But what I'd like to get on it, in addition to mending, is I'd like to bump that up to Prot 4, but we don't have any librarians that sell protection booklets at this time. So I need to do a bunch of trading and go to the farm. And in the farm, then I will basically get enough stuff to trade with the villagers so that I can level up the librarians so that I can hopefully get one of them to sell protection armor. So anyway, that's kind of the long goal of what I am doing. And I am looking for, where did I put my books of... So I have a book of mending somewhere, but it looks like, oh, I know where it is. It's in the farm. So why don't I show you around our server? So this is Owls for All's server. This is the inside of my house here. There's a kitchen down here where we've done recipes. We've done how to make fudge in real life as one of the streams one night. That was definitely a much more pleasant stream. Over here is the path to get the easy way to get up to the roof. This is the bedroom and the loom, and here's where we talked about copyright protection. And out here, this over here is the orange windows is Owl's house, and the other window is a friend of Owls's, and then that's the tree house there, which has one of those nifty things that if you put a pearl in at the top, you can push a button at the bottom and it'll teleport you to the top. This is our soul sand path to the farm, and there's some underground cows there, but the much bigger farm. Basically, the underground cows are the reserve cows in case one of the other kids accidentally kills all of the cows, which has happened in the past. So here is the rest of the cattle farm. And Reese remembers the evening when, well, I guess it was 2 evenings that I spent trying to bring cows back from 900 blocks away. And since then, we've done a lot of breeding. So there are now a lot of cows, and I will be taking some of them to market later today. And this is the farm. And over here is the chicken coop, the fox-proof chicken coop. And over here is basically it's the outbuilding, and one of the kids was going to put the second half of the roof on, but they haven't done it. So at some point, I might actually just put the roof on. So that is a tour. I hope you like what you see. And now I'm going to start harvesting wheat while talking about really uncomfortable topics. So, staying safe online. There exist out there child predators. And one of the things that I learned in the classes that I took is that they tend to do certain behaviors. They go where the children are. It's just a thing, like it doesn't make sense if you're a child predator to spend all of your time with adults. And in this case, it could, or in whatever case, then going where the children are, it could be if you have family members who have children. So frequently abusers are known to their victims. So it could be uncles, grandparents, great uncles. It's really sad that people would do that, but that is one of the most common sources of child abuse. But additionally, then people volunteer in organizations, people become school teachers, and things like that. So that's one of the first things that they need is opportunity. And they don't just go right out and start abusing you straight off. Usually they spend a long time trying to gain your trust and trying to gain the trust of those around you so that people will believe them and not the kids. And they'll do that by being helpful, by being friendly, and sometimes they will do things like give kids gifts. So most organizations tend to have policies that say, no, you're not allowed to give individual children gifts. If you're giving something to somebody, you have to give it to everybody, so that they don't single out kids and make one kid feel more special than all the other kids. So that is one of the things that they do. They try to get you to sit on their lap. They'll do grooming behaviors where you get used to the kind of touch that's really okay. So, back rubs, tickling, wrestling is another one that they like to do. And things like that are kind of innocent, but then they get you used to more and more invasive forms of touch. And then they try to blackmail you, basically. They try to get you to do things that you know are wrong, and they know you know are wrong. Things like drinking alcohol with them at their house, or playing video games that your parents don't let you play. So, for example, letting you play Grand Theft Auto 3 if your parents don't let you play that kind of game. And letting you do things that you know really aren't right, or finishing your homework for you, or that sort of behavior. And I'm getting hungry here. I should eat. Oops. Eat. And I need to dump my stuff. Okay. So, let's see here. I really don't need these. Let's pick up. Dump that. Pick up wheat. Okay. So, what they will do is basically try to get you to, they'll try to blackmail you before they do things that that they don't want you to tell any other adults about. And if you can, then that should kind of set off warning bells in your head. Oh, this adult is trying to get me alone and drinking, or letting me drive their car when I'm still underage, or things like that that are are not okay to do. This should set off alarm bells in your head that say, oh, maybe I shouldn't be doing these things, which, you probably knew you shouldn't be doing these things to begin with, but think to yourself, oh, I shouldn't do these things because they could lead to worse things. And once they do that, then they say, oh, now I've kind of got the kid right where I want them, that now they can't tell anyone about these bad things that I'm about to do. And that's when they get you. And so if that happens to you, or if you are the friend that one of your friends confides in because they feel like they can't tell their parents, then know that as a child, it's never your fault. Like, this is a manipulative person who is trying to manipulate people. And even if you made bad choices, you made bad choices because you were being manipulated by a grown-up who should know better. Or in some cases, it's not even a grown-up, it's an older teenager who should really know better. And it's not your fault. And if the world were fair, then people would believe you. But sometimes people don't want to believe you because, generally speaking, these perpetrators try very hard to gain the trust of everyone else around them first. So it makes it, and it's really uncomfortable for an adult when a kid comes to them and says, hey, this bad thing has happened to me. Adults don't want to believe it. They kind of go, what? Really? No, that couldn't have happened. Are you sure? And so I kind of have sympathy for adults who don't believe that these things happen, because nobody wants to believe that bad things happen to children. But bad things do. And so if the first person you tell doesn't believe you, you kind of have to just keep trying. And let's see, other things that people will sometimes do. School teachers, especially like drama teachers and band teachers, are notorious for doing the, oh, well, would you like to come for extra help with drama club? Or would you like to come for extra help? And, oh, you could get the lead in the school play if only you practiced extra with me one-on-one after school. And that is, anytime a teacher is trying to spend time with you one-on-one, it's generally not a good idea. And nowadays, when the teachers, you don't even have to physically be at the school, they can try to get you into a chat room online and get you to undress yourself and things, which they really shouldn't be doing. And if that happens to you, then you need to tell somebody about it. It's just awful to even think about. But if you know the warning signs, then you're more likely to be able to avoid that situation. And if you know that these things can happen, you're more likely to believe a friend if it happens to a friend of yours, because frequently kids will tell their friends before they'll tell their parents, and before they'll tell relevant authorities. Now, rules vary by state and by country. In the state of California where I live, then most adults in positions of authority over children are what's known as mandatory reporters. So that means if a kid tells them that an adult has done something that's illegal, then the grown-up is required to report it to the authorities, even if the grown-up isn't sure that the kid's telling the truth. It's called mandatory reporter laws. So laws could be different in different states, but just be aware that that's what's going to happen. And what will happen after that is, generally speaking, there'll be some kind of investigation. If it turns out it's the child's family members who are doing the abusing, they will typically search for another family member to have the child live with the other family member until things can get sorted out to decide whether or not this actually happened. And it can be really scary and uprooting for a child if that happens. Let's see. That's the main bit of that kind of staying safe online. And you guys probably already know general rules of staying safe online of, never give out your password, never give out your personal information about where you live, and all of that. And so that's like section 1 of what I wanted to make sure everybody knew today. And that's like the really awful stuff. The less awful stuff is sort of when the person on the other end of the line doesn't have bad intentions. When essentially, you're a teenager and you are looking to fall in love with somebody, and especially over the internet during a pandemic, then there's no people in person that you can spend any time with. And you're looking for a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and you want to find somebody to date, and you want to find somebody to fall in love with. And so I'm going to go to personal stories here. I was 15 when I fell in love with a guy I met on the internet. And this was a long time ago. So I am 45 now. So when I was 15 was literally 30 years ago. Are both of these full now? And so, water check. Thank you. Where's my water bottle? There it is. It has rolled under the desk. Oh. Yeah. So I hope, I don't know, if this is too bad of a topic, I can stop. But, I don't know. I feel an obligation to try to get that information out there. And people who aren't involved in youth organizations might not necessarily have access to this information otherwise. So that's why I want to have it out there somewhere. Okay, back to story time. So, yeah, when I was 15, I fell in love with a boy I met on the internet. He was 18, and it was over a 1200 baud modem over a internet service known as FidoNet. So this is back before the internet was back before the internet we know now is like the internet of back before this internet existed even. It was before the web, before HTML, and I met this guy because I was a co-sysop on a bulletin board system, and my job was to take care of the local conversation board. Basically, my job was to make sure, I'm going to get those other beats from here later. My job was to take care of the local conversations and basically just keep the conversation going. And this boy messaged me and said, "Hi, I'm new to the board. I just want to say hello and introduce myself." And he was flirting. He was definitely flirting with me, but I was 15 and single at the moment. And none of the boys that I knew in real life, like pretty much most of my friends were boys because I was kind of a geek and a nerd, and that most people back then, mostly it was boys who were geeks and nerds like that back then. And I liked them. I was a first date for like 4 different guys. I liked my guy friends, but I did not, it was not a romantic interest in any of my guy friends. They were, kind of geeky. And so this boy started flirting with me on the internet, and wasn't the internet as we know it now, but he started sending me messages, and I started replying to him. And to make a long story short, my 15-year-old self fell in love with him. Or at least I fell in love with the idea of falling in love. I mean, the things that he told me about himself were things like, yeah, I don't drink and I don't smoke and I don't do drugs and I work at a movie theater. And, you know, for my 15-year-old self, who the only other people who fit those criteria were very geeky and not terribly attractive, and here he is telling me nice things about myself, like that he likes my writing and things like that, and I'm like, doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, this is clearly the guy for me, because I had a Hollywood view of the world that there aren't that many nice guys out there. And since then, I've realized there's a whole lot more nice guys out there, but I just didn't know any of them at that point, or at least not any of them that I was attracted to. And so I fell deeply, deeply head over heels in love with this guy, and he was willing to, you know, have a 15-year-old be in love with him. And we met twice, I think. You know, he came to my house, he met my parents, and that was the rule was, you know, well, actually that wasn't even the rule. The rule was I had to meet people in a public place, in my house. And back then, the internet was new. My parents had no idea what sort of rules to set for me. And I was a good kid, so they mostly let me make all my own choices. And for the most part, I made good choices. But I fell so totally in love with this guy, and he came to my house, and we met, and, you know, he chatted with my parents for about 15 minutes and picked me up, and then we went to go see a movie. Then we went home for the movie, and that was it. Like, I think that was the only date that we ever really had. I met him once or twice more. I would ride my bike to the place where he worked, which was about 5 miles away. Like to say uphill both ways, because, you know, you had to go up the hill and then down the hill. So I had to ride my bike uphill twice. Yeah, let's dump this stuff. And so I met him pretty much just twice, but I was in love with the idea of being in love. Like, I would go ride my bike to his place of employment and just sort of sit there next to his car and not say anything and then go home again. It was really weird stalker behavior, but I didn't know any better. So on the one sense, I can have sympathy for stalker people, but at another sense, it's kind of weird, but I didn't know that. And, you know, I think most weird stalker people don't know that yet either. And so I have a little bit of sympathy, but at the same time, it's strange. So, yeah, so I fell totally in love with this guy. He clearly, after meeting me in person, wasn't interested. But he didn't know how to tell me that, because I was 15 and totally in love. And so, he let it go on for most of the summer, and then like halfway through the summer in June or July, no, it must have been in July, then he sent me this message that says, "Hi, I know you want to spend more time with me, but I need to spend more time with my new soon-to-be 18-year-old girlfriend, and so let's break this off here." And I was devastated. Like, we did send each other email messages every night, pretty much. And when I saw that, I was devastated. I was very, very sad. And it was quite the heartbreak. And it was a very difficult time. Yeah, it's just being dumped by somebody, especially somebody that you are totally infatuated with, really, really hurts. And like, you can see it in lots of music, that being dumped by because at the time, especially when you're young, it feels like there is never going to be a person as right for you as this person who just dumped you. And it just feels awful to be dumped by somebody. I have plenty of space here. And so I was dumped. I was devastated. And, you know, that's a time in your life when, okay, yes, come on, die. You've got my carrot. I am clearly lagging here. Oh, come on. There we go. Yes, it really, yeah, it sounds dramatic. It really feels like, oh no. Run. Oh, creeper. Now I gotta clean up this mess. Yeah, it really, really feels like your world is falling apart. Yeah, like a creeper has just, you know, taken out your heart when somebody dumps you. And it feels like there is never going to be another person as good for you as that person was. And part of it is, like, when you love somebody, that person becomes more attractive to you. And when they love you, or at least they say they love you, then that makes them more attractive to you yet again. And it's just awful. And when you're over the internet, then knowing, like, it's worse over the internet because you're missing so many of those social cues that you would otherwise get about, okay, they're just saying this. But when it's an email, then it's harder to understand the, you know, the actual level of like present in the message. I don't know if that's the right way to describe it, but I think I would have figured things out sooner if it had been more of an in-person relationship and less of an over-the-internet relationship. Okay, let me get this fixed up, and then I can talk again. And I was so sad, and I was so devastated, and it took me a really, really long time to get over it. Like, his car was a sort of special green colored car that pretty much nobody else had that color green of a car. And so it was very easy to pick out in the parking lot and, you know, on the other side of the freeway. And it was quite easy to see his car from quite a distance away. Okay, what shall I do here? I think I'm going to plant this. Oops. Eat that. Plant this, and we'll get to the other side and then come back with more dirt. Oh. Seriously? Come on. There we go. And so every time I would see that color green, I would think about him. And he has, as they say nowadays, he was living in my head rent-free. I had a lot of trouble thinking about anything else other than him. And it was quite a challenge. And I finally decided, yeah. Yeah. And the thing about it is, like, I can recognize this now as a grown-up, that the relationship we had, it was not a relationship. Like, we'd seen each other in person once, and we wrote letters to each other, just about once a night, but they didn't contain anything meaningful in the letters. It was just like, hi, how was your day? I ate this, and, it wasn't anything meaningful. Or, what movies do you like? That kind of getting to know you letter. But I was in love with the idea of being in love. And, with the benefits of hindsight, it wasn't a real relationship, but at the time, it sure felt real. And so, I don't know. What am I trying to say here? What I'm trying to say is that happens, and it's, oh, drat, I accidentally picked up the carrots. And some spoiled potatoes, apparently. Okay. And so, yeah, it wasn't even a real relationship, but it was infatuation is the word they call for it. And a friend of mine let me know a word. Oh, what's it called? I want to say liminence. I should have looked it up before the stream. But basically, the first approximately 3 months of any relationship, then there's, like, it's literally a brain chemistry thing that happens to humans because, well, our chemistry wants us to reproduce, and it's a brain chemistry thing that happens to humans, that the first 3 months of a new relationship, then we have this special feeling about the person that it literally, like, sets off chemicals in the mind that make us feel good when we think about that person. And when the relationship ends, it just feels horrible. And I think that one of, like, just biologically speaking, I'm assuming one of the reasons why that happens is because biologically humans just get along better when they stay together. When you raise children as a pair, it's a lot easier than trying to raise children as a single. And so I can see why there might be valid biological reasons for this, but when you break up, oh my gosh, does it hurt? And so for me, then trying to get him out of my head was very difficult. And he broke up with me during the summer. It was like June. And then I turned 16 in August. And I decided to just kind of throw myself into my studies at school. And work really hard at school because I needed to get him out of my mind. And the best way that I knew how to do that was to spend all of my time studying. And I tried, but it didn't work very well. And then later I decided to, much later, it was Lent. So Lent is a time in the Christian calendar. It's the 40 days, roughly speaking, the 40 days before Easter. It starts right after Ash Wednesday, which this year Ash Wednesday was yesterday, so today is the first day of Lent. And when it came time to Lent, I was still thinking about him, like literally every 3 to 5 seconds in school and all day long. Then I would think about, just kind of do, oh, and then his name, and I'm so sad that he doesn't love me anymore, and I wish that he was with me, and that kind of feeling, or that kind of sentiment. And let's see here, I need space in my inventory. Okay, I have enough space, so let's get rid of the poisonous potatoes, and let's make some more boxes, because I need a place to keep all the potatoes. Oops. I was trying to make a double. What happened there? There we go. Okay, let's make some place for these potatoes to live. And anyway, so I finally gave him up for Lent. And basically, anytime that I started to think about him, then I would just go, no, 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 I'm not going to think about him. And I would think about anything else. I would recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I was in AP Bio no, I wasn't in AP Bio that year. That was a different year. I was in AP Chemistry that year, and there was like the table of electronegativities that we were trying to memorize. And so I would recite the table of electronegativities. I would basically do anything at all to stop thinking about him and not allow myself to think about him. And now that I'm a grown-up, I realize that that technique of stopping the thoughts and not letting the thoughts come and basically having the thoughts go away, that's something that now I know more words. That's called cognitive behavioral therapy, where you basically get yourself out of these really negative thought patterns by specifically and actively trying to think about something else instead. And so I discovered CBT all by myself as a teenager, but it is, let's see here, I want to put this in that chest. There we go. Okay, and okay, we clearly don't need to save any more beetroots. Okay, let's go get some dirt and fix up where this thing broke the other day. But yeah, so if you are ever in that space, then actively trying to force those thoughts out of your head. And at the end, it was really nice. At the end of the 40 days of Lent, where I was actively trying to get him out of my head and not allowing myself to think about him whenever I saw a car of that particular green color, now I can think, now I can talk about it. And I think I remember his name, but I don't even remember his last name anymore. And so it's like, it worked. I was so glad that it worked, but it worked. And so that's a thing I wanted to share with you guys as like staying safe on the internet. There's the bad guys, but then there's also the people that, there was nothing wrong with how we met. It was innocent. He never did anything wrong. It was all me in terms of I was looking for somebody to fall in love with, and he happened to be available. And how do you get over that heartbreak is a tough thing. So, I don't have any more potatoes anymore because I just went and put them all in the chest. Okay, well, I will fix up the oh wait, those aren't gonna stay because I haven't extended this yet. Okay, let's fix this all up first. And so anyway, when you fall in love over the internet, then just be careful. So I guess the two pieces of warning are, one, I'm just gonna go sleep because I don't want anybody, come on, 4, not 3. Ah! Good thing I've got that netherite chest plate on. Ooh, have I put mending on my chest plate yet? I don't know. Okay. So, there we go. Let's go over here. Yeah. You totally get where I'm at. Oh, yeah. And it was the one thing, I've got to say, like, the one thing that got me through it was thinking to myself. So when I was like in second or third, I was in second grade, then my Girl Scout troop went to visit this older lady who'd just gotten her 50-year Girl Scout membership pin. And I vowed, like, she was really cool. And I vowed right then and there that one day I was going to get my 100-year Girl Scout membership pin. Oh, water check. Thank you. And I vowed one day I was going to get my 100-year Girl Scout membership pin. And that thought was one of the thoughts that sustained me when I was a teenager and totally devastated and this guy had dumped me. Like, I thought to myself, when I am 106, will it matter that this one particular boy dumped me when I was 15 years old? And it helped me get through it. Like, thinking about, when I am older, 10, 20, 30 years from now, will this matter? And now that it's 30 years from now, it makes for a good story. And I don't feel any of that devastation anymore. But at the time, it was horrible. And it was really, really, really hard to get through. And so I guess my advice to you guys out there on the internet is, if somebody dumps you, like, if you fall in love over the internet, it can happen. Like, I know people have gotten married with people that they've met through Match and Tinder. I think Match.com is where the most people I know have had successful relationships. Although I also know one of those that had, they failed after like 3 or 4 years of marriage too. But, people do meet people over the internet. In fact, that's how a lot of them meet these days. But it's a lot harder because you see, at least in the early days, you see what you want to see when you're dating someone that you meet online. And it's a lot easier to I'm not sure how to describe it. Yeah, it's a lot easier to not see who they really are, but rather see who you want to see. Yeah. Yeah, I hear your sister got married recently and she met him through a dating app. And, it happens. And so it's like, you have to figure out, it's not wrong to meet people over the internet, but at the same time, you can get really hurt after meeting people over the internet if both people don't have the same degree of interest in continuing the relationship. And especially if it's really hard when the other person likes you. It's really hard to tell them, actually, I'm not that interested in you. And what am I doing over here? I was going to fix up the other side. Oh, habits. Let's go back and fix these because I'm not going to do the next row. Oh, right. And the whole reason I went over into the house is because I was going to sleep because it was nighttime. Ugh. Okay, it's very hard to concentrate and talk at the same, or it's very hard to work on Minecraft and tell emotional stories at the same time. Although I've got to say, 30 years later, I am no longer emotional about it, so that's a good thing. And it's tough though. It's really hard when you're in the moment. And so anyway, yeah, staying safe with people you meet online. Try to meet people, like, nowadays, because of the pandemic, then, you can just wait until after the pandemic's over. But if people are meeting each other in person in your local area, because the pandemic is not so spreading where you are locally, and where I am locally, it's just going to keep spreading forever because people keep making bad choices. But if it is not spreading too badly, then when you meet people, then do it either with your family or do it in a public place. After this experience of meeting that guy and having it, oh, why did I do that? And having it not work out, then I was still a member of that BBS, is what it was called. I was still a member of the BBS. I still kept meeting people. Come on. I still kept meeting people, and I met another guy, same BBS, who let me know about my absolute favorite author was coming to town to do a book signing. Well, coming to Berkeley, which was about an hour away, but available. And I never would have known that if he hadn't told me. And he invited me to go with him, and I never would have gone all the way to Berkeley all by myself again, this was the summer I was 15. As a 15-year-old, I had to take public transportation into the big city of Berkeley, and I never would have done that if I wasn't going with somebody. But the place that I met him was at the BART station, so in a public location. And that worked out. And, I've had lots of good experiences. Well, I don't know about lots, but definitely some good experiences meeting people online. And sometimes, not every relationship works out. And sometimes, like that 18-year-old guy I told you about, I pretty much never saw him again, never heard from him again, never communicated with him again. That's probably for the best. But my other guy friends, the ones that I said was talking about earlier, the ones that I was the first date for these guys that were my friends in high school, then one of them I am still Facebook friends to this day with, and we used to meet at the 4th of July parade every year. We haven't in probably a decade now. Basically not since I've had kids. We haven't gotten together since I've had kids, but we are still Facebook friends with one another. But it's just platonic at this point. And then I really need to be more systematic about how I get this stuff here. And yeah. Oh, I know why this isn't working. There's a torch there. There we go. These are all the hose I bought from that guy to try to level up the... how about this? Is that gonna work? No. I need to this just stutters so much. Okay. Anyway, that is... Oh, how old am I now? I am 45 now. So this all happened when I was 15. 15, the summer of love. And yeah, staying safe over the internet. If you're still a minor, it's generally not a good idea to give out your age, because there are people who are trying to take advantage of 15-year-olds over the internet. But at the same time, once you've known somebody for a while, then how else are you going to meet people these days? And so you've got to both be careful and smart at the same time. And oops, I missed. There we go. And take care of yourself and your mental health. Yeah, it was 30 years ago. Yeah. If you so if you're realizing that your relationship isn't going anywhere, then it's generally best to let the person know sooner rather than later. And it's really hard to break up with somebody, especially if you know that they are infatuated with you. And so, I've heard that nowadays people will sometimes do what's called ghosting someone, where you just you don't tell them that you're breaking up with them. You just kind of stop responding to their emails and texts. And I think that's not very kind, personally. it just seems like the wrong way to go about it. But, you know, I'm not you. Maybe you're not emotionally, when I say you, I mean like you being in general, the people who do this sort of ghosting behavior. I just punched carrots with chicken. Yeah. Yeah. And so I recommend against the ghosting strategy of breaking up with someone, because it just leaves them wondering. Like, you'd think you'd want to know, even if it hurts, but at the same time, if you know that it's going to hurt the person, then you can do things like contact a friend of theirs. Let somebody else know that somebody else in that person's life know that you are about to break up with them and that they might need a friend, because right after a breakup is when people are at their least emotionally stable. And even if they're doing well prior to that, when you're still, especially when you're still in that early infatuation stage of a relationship, where you think about the person all the time. Oh, my shovel's about to break. Okay, let's go fix the equipment here. Where you're thinking about the person all of the time, then if you're still at that stage of the relationship, then it can... Oh, clearly I am lagging here. Wow. It can really hurt them, and you don't know what they're going to do. And so if you have any amount of care for them left, which I would hope that you guys are all nice people and would, then if you're going to break up with somebody, then make sure that there's somebody else in their life who's there for them. Oops. At that time. So that they're not going to be left all alone, because that's the time in a especially a teenager, that's the time in their life when they're most likely to make rash, harm yourself sorts of decisions. And even if they're not going to like go out and kill themselves, then they might do something like drive unsafely. And so having another friend who's available to be around for them makes a lot of sense. So that's my mom advice. And yeah, that's tonight's stream. that's the heavy part of tonight's stream. How are you guys? It sounds like some of you have had experiences like this in the past. Oh wait, I need to be holding, yes, I have food. I am going to feed the chickens now, and this is how I fix my shovel. Because when you have mending on your stuff, then getting XP will fix your equipment. And so this is what our chicken coop is for. Well, and I sell the leftover chickens. Look at that shovel. It's back in the yellow. You're pretty good? Oh, good. That is good to hear, Reese. Yeah, I hope that you have gotten over whatever may have ailed you, but sometimes hearing a story like that from somebody who's been through it helps. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys tonight. And also that knowing just a little bit about a person is not necessarily enough to be worth totally falling in love with them. Yeah, things do get better. And with every breakup, like, if you can look at it as a learning experience of, okay, this is what I have learned from this relationship, then that's a good thing. Yeah, but I have had like all three kinds of relationships, but not that many relationships. So I've had one guy that broke up with me, and then the next guy I dated, I broke up with him, and then the third guy that I dated, and these are all the serious datings. I'm not talking about I was a first date for a guy and we went on a movie once. I'm not talking about those dates. But the third guy I dated, I married, and we're still married. It's been over 20 years now. Yeah. Yeah, it's a learning experience. You learn what you like. And, when you're young and you're dating, you learn about the things that you like in a relationship and the things that you don't like in a relationship, so that when you have, you actually don't want your first relationship ever to be your forever relationship, or to be a marriage relationship, because you want to learn what you can put up with and what you like and what you don't like. Yeah, my second relationship was, oops, no, that's not what I want. I wanted to switch this for that. My second relationship was a guy that I thought this was a really nice guy. He was so nice to me. And then I realized, after I got to know him a little bit better, that he was nice to me. He was not so nice to his parents. He was not nice to waiters and waitresses. He was really not nice to other drivers. He would tailgate people, and he would, if he thought somebody's high beam or somebody's headlights were adjusted too high, then he would tailgate them and flash his head and put his high beams on right behind them because he thought that their headlights were adjusted poorly. And I'm like, oh my gosh, get me out of the car with this guy. And I thought he was a nice guy. He was so nice to me. But when I got to know him, I realized he was not nice at all. He was just nice to me because he wanted to date me. And so I had to break up with him, and that was difficult too. But not nearly as hard as being broken up with. Alrighty, so wait, what am I even doing? I am not concentrating. I have all these eggs in my inventory, and I am not going back with a full load for the village. So, and I haven't yet put mending on my chest plate. So I think what I'm going to do now is, yeah. Oh, yes. You've seen that too with friends, them being nice to you, but not others. Yeah. And that's definitely a warning sign. When somebody is nice to you, but they're not nice to the people around you, then watch out. Or rather, that is not what you want in a long-term relationship. Because one day they will decide that they don't need to be nice to you either. Okay, let's see here. What do we want to do, and how do we want to do this? Oh yeah, I was going to fix up the edge of that thing. Whew, okay. Concentrate. Well, yeah, I think the stories are more important than the Minecraft tonight, which is why I was mostly just harvesting stuff this evening. But let's fix this up over here. Yeah, I can't jump on the fielded land. Okay, so this is still... What the heck? Okay, that is really weird. Okay, it hadn't fixed itself, but now we're good. Okay, let's go fix up this farmland here. Make some more potatoes. Potatoes sell well in the village. And I need one more thing of dirt taken out of the way here. So, welcome to the new viewers, and if you guys ever have a topic that you would like to cover, I cover mom stuff and Minecraft stuff. When I look at my YouTube statistics, it looks like the things that get more views on YouTube are the ones with, like, how to do stuff in Minecraft. But the reason why I stream on Twitch is for the stuff, like, for you guys. So whatever it is that you're interested in, and the mom advice and stuff, then let me know if there's any topic at all that you would like to cover, the kind of thing that you'd like to ask a mom-like personality but feel embarrassed to ask your own parents. I have a month's worth of topics planned out, but I can change that to cover what you guys would like. And yeah, I think it's about time to sign off for the evening. So, be good, take care of yourselves, love to you all, and good night.